Hey, how's it going, guys? Chocolate here with you today, kicking off and starting a brand new campaign as we continue to make our way down the list of various leaders in Civilization 6 as we're continuing through our Civilization 6 A to Z challenge. We're finally at the point where we have to scroll a little to see our next leader, thanks to the fact that there are 3 slots of random leaders, but regardless, we've gone through 4 leaders, Alexander in a domination game, a Minotaur in a score victory, and Bjork's in a diplomatic game, and Abraham Lincoln most recently in our first science victory. And we're going to continue making our way down with a civ I am very excited to play. I've been excited to play her since last year, when initially she was supposed to be the civ we play next following in Bjork's, that being Trieu, leading the Vietnamese Empire, released during the Frontier Pass. All 3 of these civs actually here are Frontier Pass civs. Basil, in fact, released at the same time as in Bjork's did. He will be the person we play next following our game with Trieu. We'll see if we actually get to him, because I do know I have a... excuse me one sec. I do have a hiatus that I need to go on yet again, perhaps, actually unconfirmed, but I may be gone for another while. But we're here, and we are going to play our Trieu game, and I'm very excited for this one. Vietnam has been one of my favorite civs since her release, a very interesting way of playing, and I will describe her a bit more in detail when we load in the game. We shouldn't be on our load screen as long as, by load screen I mean this screen, the game setup screen, sorry. We shouldn't be on it for as long as I have been in previous episodes, just because I haven't been gone, so I don't have any updates to give, other than our Abraham Lincoln game was pretty damn fun. Go check it out if you want to. But this game, it should be even better, because my god, am I excited to play Vietnam. I have played Vietnam before, off camera, long ago. I never completed the game, but I did want to try her out to see what she feels, and she feels so amazing. This civ, I can't even really explain why I find it so much fun. I'll probably explain better when I go through the abilities, which you can kind of read shortly as I hover over her. But yeah, it is time to play Trieu. We were supposed to play her a while ago, but we're playing her now, and we're going to do a culture victory, the first of the kind that we've done. As we, on top of making our way through the leaders, we're also making our way through the victory types. We only have a culture and a religious victory left to try out, so we're going to do a culture with Trieu, and our Basil game will be a religious game when we get to him. So yeah, culture victories. Probably the most engaging and diverse victory type you can go for. There's just so many things you can do to reach your culture victory. It's also a pretty complicated victory. There's even things that I don't fully understand, and I'll have to kind of discover and read through as we go through our game. There is a way to actually calculate how you're generating tourism. Tourism is what you need for the culture victory. I'll explain that again once we're in the game. But you basically want to generate more tourists from other civs than those civs are achieving domestic tourism. That'll make more sense when I have things to point at and explain when we go in. In terms of the layout for the game that we are about to have, what the settings are, as always, we're playing on Emperor until I say otherwise. I just think it's like the perfect balance of hard enough where you're not just lollygagging, but easy enough where there's certain things you can try out and see if you can achieve in the early game, whereas with DD it's just impossible. Nothing to change with disaster. The map type we're going this time is Wetlands. Now I am kind of setting this game up to be very in our favor with the Wetlands map and the wet rainfall setting. Just because with Trieu you want features, that being like marshes, jungles, and most importantly woods. I'll explain again once we're in, but as you can probably skim through the notes here as I hover over her. But yeah, you do want features, considering that's the only place you can place your districts. You can't just place them on naked tiles. So in order to increase our chances, we're doing a wetlands map, and we're putting the rainfall setting to wet, which increases the amount of woods, rainforest, and marshes. I'm also setting the sea level down to low. The wetlands does not have the same issue that the highlands map does, which that is there's just less water. And I do actually want there to be a bit less water in the game. I prefer more land. There will be still a lot of rivers, so and I do like rivers. But hopefully the sea level would be a little reduced, and there's a bit more land to take advantage of. That being said, we do still want coastal tiles, which again I will explain a bit later. So yeah, sea level to low, but as a result of that, I did add a 9th player. So the map size is standard, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players playing. One less than we did in our Bjork's game, because again, land shouldn't be a problem. It's just going to be a bit tight here. And that's okay, because we do have some combat advantages as Vietnam, which I'm hoping to take advantage of. It's one of those civs where you can go a little aggressive early, and then later in the game transition into a pretty peaceful cultural game, which is pretty much what we're going to do. I do have a plan as to how I want to utilize her. We're going to want a religion for the first time since our Minotaur game, which I'm excited for. And then the game modes we have here, we're toning it down after last series in Abraham Lincoln campaign. We have 3 game modes enabled. Finally, we're getting rid of the Dramatic Ages mode. We've had it enabled now for 2 series. Interestingly enough, it's not one of my favorite game modes, but it has grown on me a little through our last 2 campaigns with it. But yeah, this time I'm turning it off. We won't need that. Barbarian Clans is off this time as well, as is Secret Societies. My favorite game mode, however, I don't really foresee the need for it in this series that we're about to play. The one game mode I did turn on for this, for our campaign with Vietnam, is Monopolies and Corporations. This is the game mode that actually released along with the release of Vietnam, as well as Kublai Khan, who's a China-Mongolia leader. Not that she's like any thing spectacular in the game mode, but it did just release at the same time. And it is an interesting game mode. It does play into some cultural stuff with products. Products can generate tourism, and a little aspect of capitalism into our modern world. And yeah, you get industries which boost a certain yield based on the resource you're building the industry on. Corporations you found using great merchants, and we are going to want great merchants. I'll explain kind of my idea for this game as we load in, and yeah, we can generate products through our corporations. So anything else that needs explaining before we jump in? I think we're all good to go. I'm very excited for this, is the bottom line. The colors we're playing is the Russia colors, yellow and black. Vietnam has a pretty awful color selection, with 3 of them being yellow. I don't want to use the red and yellow color just because so many other civs have that, and we'll use that another time. But I do like to change up the colors, and so while the purple is very nice, I'm going to go Russia, yellow, and black. So let's load in here. Let Mr. Sean Bean read for us a little, and then explore what Vietnam can do, because I have a lot to say about them. I have a lot to say about them when I open them up and take a look at what type of game we have here. But for now, so basically, my plan is for the channel in the shortcoming is, so I was able now to start another campaign pretty fast following my recent one. Following that, though, I will potentially be out of commission for a bit. I'll let Sean Bean finish here.
To the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest, from this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. Trieu, your people will remember you as a goddess. Stand against those who would try to rein in your storm and raise your sword in defiance. Neither family nor foe will hold you back.
I think I mentioned this in my Bjork's intro. The lines for the leaders in the Frontier Pass are so insanely short. It's really disappointing, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, what I was gonna say is that I may be gone for a little bit following this one, but what I would be able to do is produce most likely the review video for Minotaur. We'll see if I get to that. Again, I keep mentioning how it is way more work for me to make those than it is to make these, But I am still interested in releasing that, so we'll see if I'll finally get to release that following. But Minotaur aside, let's focus on our main girl here, Trieu. Let's see what map we're working with. We're working with a very, very glorious map. This is a beautiful start. And I kind of need to make a decision here because I'm seeing a great bath play right off the bat. We are gonna want wonders this game. It being a cultural victory, you want wonders almost always, but cultural victories do lead to a push for a bit more wonders. Yeah, so Wetlands. This is indeed a Wetlands map. We have plenty of woods, which, based on where you start, there's kind of an idea for you in as Vietnam what type of game you're getting. We do see rainforest, we do see woods, we do see marsh, we see all of them. In fact, there's actually a good amount of marsh too here, but jungle not really, which I am pretty okay with. You want to start with Vietnam as okay, sorry, let me slow down for a second. You want with Vietnam any start that has features, and we have plenty of features here. Now, what type of features you have around you kind of tells you what type of early game advantage you'll get. And I am looking at quite a bit of woods and quite a bit of marsh, not so much rainforest. And rainforest opens the doors for a bit more science yields, which maybe we would have wanted actually, considering I'm not really going to go heavy on the science infrastructure here, mostly depending on earning my science from Vietnam's ability. But we'll get back to the start in a second. I first want to go over Vietnam itself, because oh my, do I have some things to say. Alright, let's start with drive out the aggressors. Pretty funny ability based on Vietnam's history of driving out powers like France and America through their wars. Even though I think Trieu was way before either of those, but whatever. I think she was in time of when China was around. But plus 5 combat strength for units fighting in rainforest, marsh, or woods, which we have plenty of. Which means should we be attacked, I think we'll be pretty damn good. You also get plus 1 movement if you begin your turn on those features. So if our scout starts a turn on a rainforest, plus 1 movement. If our scout starts a turn on a marsh, plus 1 movement. If our scout starts a turn on woods, plus 1 movement. And on top of that, all these bonuses are doubled if the tile is in our territory. So if we're attacked, let's say our neighbor comes in and starts attacking us, we're getting plus 10 combat strength because plus 5. Well, again, these are in rainforest, marsh, or woods. If it's a flat nothing tile, then doesn't apply. But if it's a rainforest, marsh, or woods tile in our territory, plus 10 combat strength, plus 2 movement if we start a turn there. So pretty damn good, especially early on for exploration. Your scouts can breeze through certain parts of the map that other civs just cannot. Yeah, pretty solid ability. Movement is always an underrated aspect of combat. So we'll notice that. There will definitely be a lot of times where I'm like, look guys, we get the plus 1 movement. But now let's talk about Nine Dragon River Delta, which is probably my favorite aspect of this civ. Honestly, everything about the civ is just really, really good. I can't really pick out something that I don't care for. Every aspect here, I'm like, yeah, that's good. But Nine Dragon River Delta is probably the one that's the most fun to play around. So all land special districts can only be built on rainforest. So I will quickly exit here and point out, I cannot build a district here, I cannot build a district here, I cannot build a district here or on any of these tiles, but that's okay, because if we build Great Bath, we won't want any districts there. This doesn't apply to dams. Dams you can still build. And same thing with aqueducts, I believe. That's something I'm going to need to look into. But I know that like dams you can still place on the floodplains. That's the whole point of them. It's mostly in regards to like your campuses, your holy sites, your commercial hubs, your theater squares, all those. Yeah, you have to place them on a feature. So this makes it that you don't really want to remove features as Vietnam. You can. It's just, especially for appeal later on, you're going to want the marshes and rainforests off. But if you, yeah, let's say I want to build a commercial hub. This woods that I would normally chop to like make room for the commercial hub, I'm keeping that now, and I'm putting my commercial hub right on that, so that I can get the adjacency that I need. So yeah, makes you limited with some stuff, in some senses rather, but then in others, excuse me, in other senses, it changes like the type of game you have with Vietnam. You're playing around these features. You are looking for settlements that have all these features. Ones that don't, I mean, they're not very favorable for you because you can't even place the districts. So yeah, very interesting aspect of Vietnam, being able to place districts only on features. It's I think I mentioned this in some of my previous videos, like my Bjork's video. It's just a very unique way of playing the game, and one that gives you a disadvantage on top of a really good advantage. Sometimes that can like bite you, like the disadvantage is a little great, but I think with all these civs that they've done, and Bjork's is another one of these where you can't build districts next to your city center. Sorry, you might have noticed a little cut. I just had to check something real quick. But the advantage is like so good that like I don't know how to really put it into words. You get a disadvantage, it hampers you, but the advantage that you're given in return changes the way you play and like puts you in a really good position. Like Vietnam is still a really good civ, regardless of this disadvantage. It's just a unique way of taking on a civ game. There's more to it though. There's +1 culture. Sorry, let me read from here. So you receive the following yields for every building in the features of the district. So this being, if I build my commercial hub on woods, my market, my bank, and my stock exchange all earn the following yields. So if your district is on woods, it is +1 culture for each building. If your district is in a rainforest, it's +1 science for each building. And if your district is on marsh, it's +1 production from each building. On top of that, and this is a big thing that we're actually going to utilize pretty heavily, woods can be planted when you unlock the medieval fair civic. Let me show you where that is. That is over here. That is in the medieval era. So we are going to want a pretty high culture yield so that we can rush through this and unlock medieval fair so we can start planting a bunch of woods. Because when you plant a bunch of woods, your appeal goes up. It is the only feature of the three that we're looking at here, that being marsh and rainforest, the other two, that boosts appeal. Marsh and rainforest both reduce appeal. So while yes, you can play with all three, if you're going for culture, you're definitely going to want to play around the woods. Not to mention as well the fact that you get +1 culture for districts in woods, buildings in woods rather, but the district has to be placed. So if we place a commercial hub here, our market, our bank, and our stock exchange will all provide +1 culture. If we place a holy site on this wood, same thing. If we place a holy site on this marsh, our shrine, temple, and holy building will all give us +1 production, which is another thing we're going to want to utilize. We will need to keep in mind that appeal will be reduced because of marshes. Now, Wetlands is also usually a good idea for an Atemanaki play. Am I still going to go for an Atemanaki? I think the answer is I will try. And I think it's going to go on this tile here. But I'm not done explaining Vietnam, so I'll get back into our settle in a sec. Buckle in, boys. We still have some time to go. But yeah, what I meant earlier in terms of the feature you're based around kind of indicates the type of early game you're having. Because of this aspect where you're getting culture, science, or production based on your buildings, you can have a really strong early science game. If let's say all these woods were like rainforest tiles, we know that we just need to place districts on those rainforests and build them up so that we can get, like, let's say if we put a early holy site here, we're now earning science very early from building our buildings there. Same thing if we place like a commercial hub here, some early science from the markets. So a very good indicator of what type of yield you'll get strongly. Like same thing with marshes, you can get a lot of early production if you place like let's say a commercial hub on this marsh tile here, and now your market gives you another production, or a holy site, because holy sites are a lot easier to build up early. Yeah, you can use your holy site to kind of give you extra yield for whatever you need, whether it be science, culture, or production. But yeah, this is probably my the most fun ability to play around. That being said, there are still two things to go over. One of them being the unique unit, which is not to be taken lightly at all. This is the Voi Xian. I'm gonna already make the apology for pronunciation. I have no background knowledge on Vietnamese. But you know me, I like to try. So, the Voi Xian, Vietnamese unique medieval era ranged unit, replacing the crossbowman. These units have additional movement and can move after attacking. They are also stronger when defending, more expensive, and have greater sight. So, let's refer back to the Patati Archer, which we had with Nubia. I, at the time, said it is one of, if not the strongest units in the game. The voice gen is definitely up there. What can I say? Ranged units are very strong in this game, especially during the era of archers and crossbowmen. It's when they're a little harder to deal with than a bit later. Later you have things like, I mean, really strong cavalry units that can charge those ranged units. But early on, it's a melee unit world. Crossbowman is not an era as strong for melee units, but again, still is. Yeah, they are stronger, so they have a bigger strength than the crossbowman. I actually want to compare it right now. If we look at the voice, yeah, I'm gonna do a lot more analysis in this series than I did with my America one, because the America one, it's an alternate leader. The only thing we're really focusing on is the leader ability, whereas this we're focusing on the entire civ. Range strength is 40 for the voice shen. If we click the crossbowman, I said if we click the crossbowman, oh, is that only in defense? Wait, let me read that again. Oh, stronger when defending. Me dumb. I mean, that's really good. Yeah, there is an aspect of this civ where you want to be on defense, similar to Ambiorix. But you bet your darn ass I'm going to use it a little offensively here. Like, drive out the aggressors. Again, the whole point, it even says in the title, is that you drive out the aggressors. But maybe what I'm going to try and do is bait someone into making a war with us and then take them on. Which isn't the hardest thing to do in an Emperor difficulty, but we'll see. Don't worry, guys. I promise we'll settle our first city here soon. 20 minutes into the video. Yeah, not much to say to the void gen. It's just stronger in defending. It is more expensive. That is something to note, but I don't think that'll necessarily stop me. Same to the Patati Archer. I mean, you gotta add something to make it like fair. Otherwise, you just have a better version of what everyone else has. They do have greater sight. Sight is something that isn't really acknowledged much in Civ, but it can be very crucial. So I think the sight also applies to being able to shoot, like, let's say, over the forest. So let's say if my voice gen is standing here and the city's like here, I think normally you would not be able to see this because of the woods. So the archer would have to, like, or crossbowman would have to, like, step around and shoot here because this is flat, so now you can see it. I think the voice gen just overcomes that and sees it, no problem. I might... Sorry. My mouse does this thing now every once in a while where it just freezes. There we go. Okay. You might hear occasional slams. That's me trying to fix my mouse. I might test that at some point by grabbing an archer, grabbing a voice gen, and seeing which one of them can, like, hit a certain city. But that's to be determined. But you should note they do have greater sight. Yeah, so pretty straightforward. Just a very strong crossbowmen. On top of that, they can move after attacking, so very easy to slip a shot and move away. Yeah, we're gonna look to utilize that for some earlier military affairs. And speaking of early military affairs, we have a replacement to the encampment district, this being a Than. Again, apologies for pronunciation if that's not right, but the Than is very interesting. While it is an encampment district, that's not to say Vietnam is necessarily a domination civ, similar to Zulu, who also has an encampment replacement, but he is very strictly domination. For her, so replaces the encampment, and it gives +2 culture for each adjacent district. So if you build a let's say a Than here, and then place commercial hub, or actually let's say government plaza, commercial hub, I don't know, holy site, campus, theater square, industrial zone, doesn't matter. If you surround it with districts, you're getting +12 culture from that. These things are so easy to generate high culture because of this, just surrounded with districts. And on top of that, this is a pretty freaky boost. All that culture you're generating becomes tourism once you reach your flight. So once we get to flight, if we get some +12 Thans out here, then we can generate a ton of tourism. It also does not require population to build. So, like, let's say we're one population, we build a very early holy site, and then we can place down our Than if that's unlocked, because it doesn't take a population limit. So if we're looking for things to do, we're basically want to place down our Thans everywhere. Just really good culture generation. It's also half the cost to build, like pretty much every damn single district replacement. And it cannot be built adjacent to the city center, of course, because it's an encampment. But this is a thing to note: it does not provide great people points. Now, something that I'll need to confirm is if this only applies to the district rather than the if it only applies to the district rather than the buildings. So let's say we build a barracks in there. Does that still generate great person points? And I think it does, but we'll need to confirm that. And yeah, it's not a specialty district, which is very important in Vietnam, because you'll read here on 9 Dragon River Delta that all land specialty districts can be only built on rainforest, which I think means the aqueduct doesn't have to be built on them. Rainforest Martian woods, sorry. So we can build our thons in places where we can't build our districts. Like you see this hills tile here, we can build a thon there, can't build the other districts. So gonna be important to note that. And that should be about it for our rambling. So that's Vietnam. I hope you see all the potential that I see in the civ, because yeah, I don't know how to say it. This is very close to being one of my all-time favorite civs. I think I can think of a few others I prefer over her, but she is very up there. And now let's get to the game at hand. So 26 minutes of rambling done as per usual. Where are we settling? This is a good start. I will just go ahead and confirm that belief for you if you were thinking about it. We want all these features around us. We're on a floodplain. I'm going to try for a great bath play, because that'll take out the need for a dam in the city and it will generate some nice faith. And in this game, I do want faith. Vietnam does not get any faith boosts by any means. However, we have the ability to get a strong faith economy while not losing out on other things, because if we just build holy sites across our empire, we're still getting culture or science or even production from those buildings. So I do want an early holy site. I do want a religion, not Stonehenge. I do see a potential for that, but we're not going to do that. And I do want some wonders. So basically the way this game is going to work for us, we're going to first start building up for a religion. We're going to place thons pretty early. In fact, I think in our capital, we might even, after the holy site, build a thon as soon as we can. We're going to want gold for the later section of the game, but early on we're going to focus on a faith economy. Going to transition into hopefully a war with some close by neighbors. I am hoping that having 9 players means that we're a little squished, because I am going to want to put out our Voishens to attack, to be able to use them on some of our neighbors. And then we're going to transition into laying out a very appeal-based tourism game towards the end. Because if we culture rush to medieval fairs, we're going to be able to set up a lot of nice appeal early as we prepare for the unlocking of naturalists and conservation. I might even utilize a district that I haven't really utilized in any of our previous games, the Preserve, which is a very fun district to play around, but it's really not the most ideal thing in the world. Just a fun little addition that they added several years back now. But yeah, where am I settling? So I am very attracted to settling on some of these gold tiles. Not this one, because it requires moving across the river, and I just have 2 other really good settles to use, as opposed to wasting a turn crossing. The 2 I am looking at, and I mean I already kind of made a decision in my mind, but I'll explain my thought process, is either this maize tile, I move up settle here, my city will be 2, 1, 2, or to the left here, where we 2, 1, 3. Now that is obviously a better gold yield. It gives us a luxury resource of cotton to work, which is actually pretty important for the Monopolies game mode, which I will also explain, not this episode, but later. That is the only game mode we have enabled, so not too complicated to think about. That is another reason we're going to want quite a bit of commercial hubs and things like that. We want great merchants for the game mode, because they're the ones that are able to launch corporations. And yeah, so it's between these 2. I could also settle in place. It's not the worst thing in the world. Unfortunately, beyond the 2-2 tile of the deer, we don't have any decent production to work. So what I've decided, I'll say which one I'm going to do. I'm going to move left here on the cotton, settle there. We have 1, 2, 3 2-2 tiles to work early on. I'm going to want to place the Great Bath right here. This is a very nice great bath location. We're going to be able to use these 5 tiles for a great bath. I'm wondering if this is a separate river though, but it counts anyway. And then we're going to want to go for a holy site, and I am thinking of the holy site going on this marsh tile. It'll generate production from our buildings. Plus it's a +3 holy site because it's adjacent to 2 woods and a mountain. 2 sets of 2 woods and a mountain, which also gives us Mahabodhi Temple potential. The great thing is that these districts don't remove the feature, so our adjacency for the holy site will always come from the woods, even if I place like a commercial hub on this tile here or a theater square. Alright, let's stop rambling. I'll first move my warrior just to get the vision, a lot more marsh, and now I'm thinking a Tamanaki. I'll explain a Tamanaki. I've already explained Tamanaki. I've tried building it in 2 of my previous games already. This one I'm gonna, in a sense, try and rush, but there are quite a few things I'm trying to rush here, so we'll see if I'll be able to. But let's go ahead, step on this cotton, settle our city of Thang Long, +1 era score for settling by the flood plains, and this is +2. So yeah, this is a better holy site actually. We can put a campus here. Loving the rivers, loving the woods, loving the start. This is a very, very good start here. Now, what are we going for? So as I mentioned, I kind of have a few things I'm going to push for early here. I'm going to push for Great Bath. I'm going to push for a holy site. And I'm going to push for a Tamanaki. I also did mention I want to put down a Thon pretty early. And unfortunately, all these things are in pretty different parts of the tree. What am I going for first? It's all a matter of how fast my production is able to go here. So we're working 2/2 tiles the entire way through. We also do have a good 3 extra gold per turn that we're making early here, which is good. We probably want to scout first here. I don't really foresee why we don't. We are going to go rather wide this game. There's going to be different stages of where we're going to push for expansion. But I do want a pretty early push with, let's say, like for 3, maybe 4 cities. Probably going to want the Settler Pantheon if we can somehow grab that, but I'm a little doubtful. So what am I going for first? I have a feeling it's going to be pottery. If I do go for pottery right off the bat, it means that after 2 things I build, like if I do 2 scouts, which will take about 12 turns, we get started on the Great Bath immediately. I'm just not sure production's going to be good enough for that, but I think I have to rush it. I think that is the play I need to do, and then right after Great Bath, I think we just go for the holy site. So when am I going for a settler, you might ask? Yeah, good question. I need to figure that out. Is that what I'm doing? I think I might have decided on that being what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I also removed the cat mod. I'm sorry, cat lovers. I much prefer the dog. Tough decision right off the bat. And yeah, we do. As I said, we do want to go for the Thons. I think we're gonna go pottery. Let's do it. Yeah, we're gonna want to come out west. Tamanaki grows. Yeah, but this is okay. So here, I'll plop some of these down. This is gonna be our holy site. It's +3. Tamanaki can go here. And this is a really nice theater square. This can be a campus, but that campus isn't getting built soon. Oh, we also have Mahabodhi Temple. Mahabodhi Temple. Yeah, I think like that, and then this theater square is even better. This would also be a pretty good hanging gardens place, but... And do I want the Thon here? It's not a really good Thon. We want to surround it with districts. Yeah, the location of my districts does strike an issue in regards to... I might... I think I'll plan this a bit later, but this is generally, I'm okay with this. We also want a commercial hub is the thing, though. Boy. Boy. How bad do I want him at Timanaki? Like, generally, a Timanaki's good. +2 science and +1 production from all marsh tiles. And then in this city, +1 science and +1 production from all floodplains tiles, which is pretty good. But that is it. It's just a good science and production generator. The thing is I can use my marsh tiles for districts, and there are a lot of marsh tiles that I could override. But it is empire-wide for the marshes, so I think that's still pretty good. I'll lay this out for now like this, and I'll think about it. The holy site is definitely going here, though. And I know it's literally turn 3, but we are going to wrap the episode soon. Ah, yes, the extra movement. So normally, we could only move on this marsh or on this hills, but because we're starting in a feature, we gain +1 movement, so we're going to go up here, and it allows us to meet Mexico City first. They want an archer. I do need to remember what Mexico City likes, or gives. Oh yeah, the regional effects are further. Sorry. Alright, let's go up here. More awesome land I'm seeing. A lot of marsh. Damn, Mexico City has a lot of marsh. Do I kill Mexico City? They're not on fresh water, though. But I do have a room to settle in between them. Which might be good, actually, because then I can pack more districts up here. I think we're going to push here until we get a second scout out. And then call the episode. Alright, so there's our first scout. He is going to come and grab this tribal village up here. You're going to come this way around the mountains. This land is a little less favorable for us. But it does provide good industrial zone opportunities here. Yeah, so I think I just go for a second scout here. And then we work on Great Bath. I'm not having any faith generation here, which means I'm probably not getting that settler pantheon. Which does mean our second city. Okay, this warrior needs to stop going this way, because this is where our scout's gonna go. Basically, oh my god, my mouse again, sorry. There we go. Yeah, that might happen a few times. We grew to the maize tile. That's fine. We're working 2 tiles. But yeah, we're gonna have the scout come here, come up there, and then explore. We do want to try and find a wonder. My god. Okay, this one I'm grabbing with my warrior. Am I? I could actually have this scout come get it. Yeah, I'll have that scout come get it.
I thought clay must.
There's pottery. So when one turn, we're gonna actually be able to start on that. On that being the Great Bath. Let's go astrology here. And there's our second scout. I did say that's where we'll end, but these turns go so fast. We're going to have a few more turns to go here. I'm not going to wait for Coda Lost to finish for the double scout experience. Boost for early empire. Honestly, not as bad as it is most of the time, because like I don't know when I'm going to grab the settler, because we're about to spend quite a few turns building our Great Bath. I'm hoping we can get it. This will be a nice place for it. Alright, let's get you on this woods. I think next turn you'll be able to grab that, but that might not be enough movement. Alright, now you're coming up here. We need to come grab this village. Bit more time here and then we'll stop. See, normally there's a really nice cradle for like a campus or a holy site, but we actually can't place a district there. I mean, later we could when we unlock medieval fairs, but... Okay. Alright, more mountains. 40 gold. Is pretty good. I'm loving this map. So much features. It is a wetlands map. Alright, I will grab this. Oh, one sec. Let's go ahead and enforce our government. I added a mod that I thought I already did prior to the last series, and then I noticed it never applied. So this is a mod that shows you how much you're earning from the policies you implant, which will make it a lot easier when I debate, like, oh, would it be better to put the one where it gives 100% yield from commercial hub adjacency, or the one that gives the plus 50% yield from population, like that type of stuff. It'll tell you what you're getting more out of. I think we're going God King here. I do want the Pantheon, and let's go for Survey until we see Barbarians and regret our decision. With that enacted, let's finish the turn and thus end the episode. Oh, I guess that means we're not grabbing this tribal village this episode, but that's okay. That is a first meet on Buenos Aires, so 2 production city-states right by us, interestingly enough. And they want me to clear this barbarian post, which I might be able to, so we might grab early suzerainty of Buenos Aires. Where do we want to go? So the civic tree is actually going to be pretty important for us, because we do want medieval fairs for wood planting, and we want conservation for naturalists. It's going to be a pretty heavy naturalist game. I don't think I need the Oracle this game. But we do want to rush for government. Let's go. I mean, it doesn't quite matter which of these two I grab first. I don't think either of these policies are super important for me here. Yeah, they're not, so it doesn't particularly matter. And with that, as soon as the slow turns out, we're going to call the episode here. So, a lot of analysis as per usual, but we did get our capital down, have a basic idea of some of the early districts we want. Mostly the holy site is the important thing. We're going to try to get a Tamanaki, trying to get Great Bath. Those will be 2 very solid wonders for us to have. And I'm not sold on putting Mahabodhi Temple here. I might move it up here and just put the theater square down here, because I want to surround my Thon with districts. Those are a little more important, because they can just generate so much culture. We'll need to see where I want to put my Thon here. I have time to decide that. But yeah, 2 scouts out, exploring the map, looking like a very, very nice start for us here. And yeah, not much else to recap. We did just get started. But I'm excited for what's to come. This should be a very exciting game. I'm very happy to play Vietnam finally. And if you want to see me go through that, then why don't you subscribe so you can get notified when that next episode will pop. Spoiler, it'll be the next day. But still, go ahead and subscribe if you want to keep up with the channel. And if you like what you see here, if you like the video, go ahead and leave a like. On that note, I will say thank you so much for watching. Until the next episode, I will see ya.